for the Republican Party of Virginia Beach chair. I guess it would be called chairwoman or chairperson. Hey, Tina, great to have you with us.
Good morning, John. How are you?
You fired up?
I'm fired up.
All right. Now, you're running for chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach. This is a big deal because, as you know, Virginia Beach now becoming one of the most Republican areas, swing areas in the state. The current chairman, Ken Longo, really did a fine job there. He's got all Republicans all over the place. But this is a hotly contested area. There's always a battle. Why are you running for Virginia Beach party chair?
Well, it's kind of personal for me because I feel like Republican values result in the best outcome for my community and my Commonwealth. I want to keep Republicans in partisan offices in the General Assembly and get them in statewide offices and in the White House.
And so when you look at what Ken Longo has done, the type of leadership that you would bring into the Virginia Beach Republican Party, what would it be like? Describe what your vision of your leadership would be.
Well, Ken's done a great job, and I've worked closely with him for the last few years. I'm currently the precinct org chair, so I work with our candidates and a group of volunteers who oversee the different House districts in Virginia Beach. We find volunteers to help with the candidates, do their grassroots, and we find volunteers to work the polls on Election Day. So what my plan is to enhance our grassroots. We need to grow our party. We have a couple of good assets here right now from RPV, community organizing. They're going out on a lot of college campuses and registering new Republican voters. So what I want to do is plug those people into our party and get them involved with some of our grassroots efforts. Door knocking, phone banking, voter registration drives, and meet and greets and socials. Keep our voters engaged all year long instead of just calling them when we want them to volunteer for us. Don't want to be that friend who only calls when we need something.
Right. So you're looking for an additional effort by those involved, volunteers from the Republican Party of Virginia that just don't get involved when it comes to elections or election day, but stay involved on an ongoing basis. Is that my understanding?
Yes, we need to engage our voters all year long, get them motivated to come out and participate in our different campaign activities. Right now, we have a great core group of volunteers that are involved with things all year long, but we have a lot of new voters coming in with all the voters in the colleges that we're getting registered. So we want to get them involved with the people that we have. We have a lot of institutional knowledge, and we want to bring new people in.
We're with Tina Mapes. She's live in our Portsmouth studio. I'm in Richmond. Tina Mapes is running for Virginia Beach Republican Party chair, and that position held now by Ken Longo. He's retiring, and there are two candidates for that right now. Tina Mapes is one. The other one is Clay Atkinson, who was on our show on Friday. Tina, whenever you have one of these races for chair of a city like Virginia Beach, which is so critical to Republicans winning both in the region and statewide, when you have one of these battles, you always have to compare the two candidates. Obviously, you've decided to run. Clay Atkinson has decided to run. What are some of the differentiators, do you think, between yourself and Mr. Atkinson?
Well, I've already been working with Ken Longo on the grassroots. We did a grassroots workshop, and we want to work with some of our neighboring units to combine our resources. But I've been with the sheriff's office now for almost 22 years, and I've been in leadership positions for 16 years. So I think I have a great deal of leadership experience that will benefit me as chairman of the party. I have a master's degree in public administration, and I'm a graduate of UVA's National Criminal Justice Command College.
So as you go forward in this race, I know you've got a couple of high-profile endorsements. Can you share with us who those are that people would recognize in the Virginia Beach area?
Senator Bill DeSteff, Senator Frank Wagner, Sheriff Ken Stolley, Commonwealth's Attorney Colin Stolley, and Clerk of Court Tina Sinnen.
Well, that's a pretty good list of people behind you. I got a personal call from Senator DeSteff over the weekend saying that he thought that you would be a fabulous chairperson chairperson of the Republican Party of Virginia, and he was excited that you were on our show today. So he was certainly singing your praises. Walk our audience through, because this is, when you get to these kind of races for chair or district chair, for the non-activist listener, this is kind of like inside baseball stuff. Like, how does this exactly work? What's a mass meeting, and who shows up, and who cares? This is what a lot of people say. But walk our audience through how you get elected chairperson of the Republican Party of Virginia Beach. What exactly is the process?
Well, there'll be a mass meeting held once the date's determined and finalized. Then that will be put out. We'll advertise that. Any registered voter in the city of Virginia Beach can come out and vote. When they show up, they'll sit in for part of the meeting because there'll be some business to take care of. When they check in, they'll verify that they are a registered voter in the city of Virginia Beach, and then we'll start the meeting. They'll take care of some business, and then they'll get on to the vote. It'll be a paper ballot that they pass around and you fill out. It's very simple. There'll be a great opportunity for people to meet some of the electeds, because all of the folks that are active in our local politics will show up and participate in the mass meeting.
And then you have your mass meeting, and basically anybody that lives in Virginia Beach who is a registered voter can show up at the mass meeting, right?
Yes. That's
so
correct.
Because there's no party registration in Virginia, so you're not registering as a Democrat or Republican. Basically, if you show up to that mass meeting that day, it doesn't matter what prior affiliation you had or where you are today. If you basically sign up and say, yes, I'm a registered voter, here's my ID, I want to participate in the Republican Party of Virginia Beach mass meeting, then you're eligible to go. Now, what happens at these meetings is, and there's one big mass meeting in Virginia Beach, right? These are not separated out by precincts, so they're just one big meeting, right?
It's one big meeting, one location. It's not the normal polling locations that voters are accustomed to going to.
Right. So I remember the one you had, I guess, last cycle was like a Tuesday night at a high school somewhere.
2014, it was, Cox High School.
And you got like 1,000 people there on a Tuesday night. So you're going to get a big turnout. It's going to be at a location people can go into and go from there, basically. But if you show up, then you'll have to sit through the speeches, and then you can decide who you want to vote for. Chairperson, Republican Party of Virginia Beach. That'll be decided at a mass meeting. There's two candidates, Tina Mapes and Clay Atkinson.
Really, there's not anything that we're not doing that I think we need to change. But the biggest thing that I want to do is work with our neighboring units to combine our resources, combine our knowledge, because like you said earlier, Virginia Beach is key to winning statewide and the presidential election, but Hampton Road. So if we can work with our neighboring units to have a huge impact on those elections, then we'll be more successful in getting Republicans in office. And the other thing is, I think we need to run our party more like a business. So it needs to be, more like our Republican values, more efficient, straight and to the point, and not get wrapped around the axle on some other things. Like I said, Ken Longo did a great job, and I've worked with him for the last few years, and he's the one who reached out to me and brought me into Precinct Org. So I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot from the volunteers that have worked for me, and from all the voters that I've talked to over the last few years. I've knocked on thousands of doors, and one thing I've learned is they like to meet their candidates, and they like to know that people in their community are volunteering for the candidates. So that's why I'm so big on grassroots and getting more people out there.
They absolutely like to meet their candidates. So, Tina, when you've got a meeting or a fundraiser coming up, text me back. We'll give people an opportunity to meet you. And as soon as the mass meeting is announced, let me know. We'll see what we can do to get as many people there as we can. It should be a very interesting race, and we look forward to you getting in the race. And we want to thank Tina Mapes. Tina, if people want to ask you a question, do you have an email or something?
I do. It's msboom97@gmail.com.